Hello, we are so happy to be with you guys this morning. We do have a lot to go over. The first thing I would like to do is take a look at what's in front of you and make sure everybody has what they need. You should have a maroon program of studies book. If you could go ahead and put your first and last name on that, just in case you misplace it here at school, we'll know who to return it to. Your counselors do not have extras of these, and you only get one in high school. You're going to want to reference this book every year of high school, especially when it comes time to sign up for your classes for the following year. So after you look it over this evening, discuss it with your parents, please put it somewhere where you can find it. In addition to that, you should have a yellow course card. We're going to go through this step by step at the end of our presentation. Go ahead and put your name on it now, though. Write as neatly as you can, no nicknames. We use this in the summertime when we're doing schedules. First and last name, no nicknames, please. Write as neatly as you can. After you get your name on it, if you could flip to the back, grab a highlighter. There's a couple of things your counselors want you to highlight so you don't forget to do it. Go ahead and flip over that sheet. Grab a highlighter. There's a couple of things we need to highlight. There's 3 places on the back of your course registration card that require a parent signature. At the top, you can go ahead and highlight that line. That's talking about North Campus classes taught at South. We'll go into a little bit more detail in a minute, but go ahead and highlight the signature line so you remember to take a look at that. In the center, there's a place for another parent signature. That's talking about flex classes. Go ahead and highlight the signature line there. And then at the bottom, there's one last place that requires your signature and your parent's signature. Go ahead and highlight the signature line there as well. You may not end up needing a signature in all 3 of these places. May not pertain to you. But just in case it does, hopefully if you highlight it, you'll remember to get that done before you turn it in. So that's your course registration card. Another thing you should have in front of you is the long white sheet of paper. This is your endorsement pathway sheet. Keep your highlighter because at the bottom you'll see a signature line on that one as well. Go ahead and highlight it for us, please. Yours and your parent's signature. And then while you're doing that, the last thing that we want you to take home this afternoon, you've got a green half sheet. This advertises our elective fair that's going to be this Thursday evening starting at 6 o'clock. It's happening at South Campus. You and your parents are invited. We have a whole lot to go over with you guys this morning. In fact, it's going to be so much you might walk out of here a little overwhelmed. You're going to hear maybe some new words that you haven't heard before when we start talking about high school. We don't have a whole lot of time with you guys to go into detail, but the elective fair, that green half sheet, this Thursday night is going to be your opportunity to take what we talk about this morning and get your questions answered. There's going to be teachers there set up with tables, just talking about all their classes offer. And so if you maybe want to jot down some things as I talk, because I'm going to ask you in a second to kind of put everything aside and just pay attention to the screen. But if you think of anything, jot down those questions. We're going to have time at the end to go through each table, but you also might save some of those questions for this Thursday. Does everyone have what they need? Okay, so go ahead, pencils down, highlighters down, take a look up here. We're going to start with credits. In high school, you're working on a credit. And so when I say that word, I really just mean one class or 1 year of a class. That's what a credit is. So up here, the magic number is 26. It takes 26 credits to graduate high school. The little flow chart goes over what all of those credits include. You're going to need 4 years or 4 credits of an English class in high school, 4 credits of a math class, 4 credits of science, and 4 credits of a social studies class. Also, what's required is at least 1 year of a PE credit, 1 year of a fine art credit, and I'll go over what those options are at North in a minute. And by the way, you can take all 4 years of those in high school if you would like to, but you only need at least 1 to graduate to meet that requirement. You're also going to need 2 years of a foreign language credit. You're going to have to earn an endorsement. Who remembers learning about endorsements from your modules that your counselors went over with you guys? So hopefully you kind of have already an idea, maybe from your work in Naviance as well, of what endorsement you're looking at earning in high school, but you'll need to earn one of those. And then lastly, you have 2 electives of your choice that you can earn, but 26 total credits to graduate high school. All right, so fine art credits. At North Campus, we offer art, band, color guard, choir, orchestra, theater arts or technical theater. Technical theater is the behind-the-scenes theater where you'll be working with the sound, lighting, maybe stage props. The PE credits we offer at North are aerobic dance, team sports, which is what we call our girls and boys PE, just a basic PE class, team sports. Our military program is ROTC. Fall band can count for a portion of your PE credit, or if you plan to be an athlete. The foreign language credits that we offer in this district are Spanish, French, and German, or computer science. If any of you took the Spanish credit by exam, was that anybody in this group? It's probably just a few of you. But if you took the Spanish credit by exam, we're going to ask on your registration card to not select any foreign language classes for next year. Because if you do well enough on that test, that's how you earn your credit, and you won't have to take it. But the rest of you, which is most of us, think about which one of those foreign language classes most interest you, because you do have to have at least 2 years in high school. If you are already a Spanish speaker, you can read and write it pretty well. We do offer Spanish for Spanish speakers at North Campus and South. That way you're not starting at the very basics of Spanish. That's an option for you. So looking at your 4 classes in 9th grade, at North Campus you can select English 1 or English 1 pre-AP. The math class you take in 9th grade is going to depend on the math you're in here as an 8th grader. If you are in 8th grade math, you're going to register for Algebra 1 next year. If you're in Algebra 1 already in 8th grade, you're going to sign up for Geometry pre-AP. You do not have a regular geometry class at North. You'll go straight into pre-AP. If you happen to be 2 years advanced in math this year, and you're already in geometry, you'll sign up for Algebra 2 pre-AP in math. Science classes in 9th grade. Again, it's going to depend on the science that you're in this year. So if you're in 8th grade science here, you're going to register for IPC, which is Integrated Physics and Chemistry. And if you're already in IPC, you'll sign up for Biology pre-AP. Same for this class. We don't even have regular biology. You'll go straight into pre-AP if you're already in IPC here in 8th grade. Your social studies classes, there's a few more options. We offer 2 regular social studies classes, World Geography and World History. And then we offer an advanced social studies at North Campus. That's an AP Human Geography class. That's a college level advanced social studies. So it's a really great class to take. At the end of that year, you have the opportunity to take an AP test. If you do well enough on it, you could potentially earn some college credit. So on that note, we've got a contract for you guys. These are the core classes we offer at North Campus. If you think you're going to sign up for any, even if you're not sure, but you think you might, any pre-AP or AP class, go ahead and raise your hand. We're going to bring by a contract for you guys. You can go ahead and put your name on it. This is going to be due at the same time your registration card is. You'll have to turn it in to your school, your junior high. At North Campus, we actually remove students from pre-AP and AP classes if we don't have one of these contracts from you guys. So it's really important to keep up with it. Your counselors will have extra. Read through it with your families. There's a lot of things for you to initial on with all the requirements that an advanced class takes in high school. There's a place for your signature and your parent's signature at the bottom. You'll notice that one side is our pre-AP options at North. If you flip over, you'll find our AP classes. So if you're going to do pre-AP and an AP class next year in 9th grade, you're going to need to sign on both sides of that contract and make sure you initial each portion as well. Are there any questions on what I've said so far? While they're finishing up passing out, one more thing I want to say. If you didn't do any pre-AP classes in junior high, that doesn't mean you can't do any in high school. You certainly can if you feel like you're up for it. However, if you didn't do any pre-AP, we do encourage you to discuss the option of going into pre-AP in 9th grade with your current teacher. So let's say you didn't do pre-AP language arts, but you think you might want to do English 1 pre-AP at North, then talk with your language arts teacher this year, discuss that with them. They're going to be the best resource you have in making that decision. All right, let's continue talking about credits. Remember I said 1 credit basically means a year of a class. So we use those 2 words interchangeably. A class and a credit is the same thing. How do you earn a credit in high school? You pass the class with a 70 or better, just like what you're used to in junior high. At North Campus, we do a 7-class period day, so you're enrolled in 7 classes, which means you're working on 7 credits your 9th grade year. That's your goal when you start high school, is to earn your 7 credits. We do have the option to earn an additional credit by taking what we call a flex class. If you flip over your registration card, right in the center where you highlighted is a handful of classes we offer for flex. Those are early morning classes starting at 7:25, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. That gives you the opportunity to enroll in 8 classes in 9th grade, so you're working on 8 credits. So you don't have to do a flex class, because those are a commitment. They start early. We don't run a full bus route for flex classes. In fact, the pickup locations and times are listed there for you. So that's certainly something you need to talk about with your parents if you plan on being a bus rider, because that's an early time to be out there waiting on the bus, and make sure you're close enough to one of those stops to get yourself there. Attendance counts just as much in a flex class as it does in the other classes during the day. So it's important, if you register for one, that you're ready for that commitment. All right? A lot of times students who take a flex class, it's really because they want to be involved in so much, they just don't have the time during the day to fit it all in. So if you know you want to do choir, AVID, you're an athlete, there's a principal's class you really want to take at North, and it just doesn't fit in 7 class periods, then flex might be a good option for you. And we'll talk more about that in a second. But any questions on that so far? So, speaking about earning credits, it can sometimes be hard to transition to high school. It's not uncommon for a 9th grader to need to go to tutorials, even if you've never had to do that before. Our teachers are in their classrooms every morning from 8 to 8:40. If you speak with them beforehand, a lot of them will stay after. They'll come on Friday mornings. They're going to do the best they can to help you be successful. I know you felt really supported in junior high, and we really want you to still feel that way in high school. So just because it's a lot bigger with a lot more students, don't feel like that there aren't people there that want to help, because there are. Just seek out those people. Our office is open. We have administrators, other staff members that want to do all they can to help you be successful and help you stay on track earning your credits. Okay, continuing on. In high school, you have to earn a certain amount of credits to get to go to the next grade level. So this chart breaks it down for you. You have to earn at least 5 credits your 9th grade year to get to become a 10th grader. That means to get to go to South, you have to earn your 5 credits in 9th grade. How many credits are you working on your 9th grade year? 7. You only have to earn 5 to become a 10th grader. That doesn't mean that if you don't earn your credit in some classes, that it just goes away and you don't worry about it anymore. That's not true. You still have to do that class over. Every class that you work on in high school, you need that credit. So whether you do credit recovery or, like I said, you're re-enrolled in that class, every class is important and you have to earn that credit, but you just have to earn 5 to become a 10th grader. And then it breaks it down for the other grade levels. You have to earn 12 credits to become an 11th grader, 19 credits to become a senior, and then what's your magic number for graduation? 26 total to graduate high school. So the next thing we're going to talk about is GPA. Who remembers this from the modules your counselors went over with you guys? GPA. This is something also to think about once you start high school, because it really starts from day 1. For every grade that you earn in high school, you get a certain amount of points for that grade that you earn. It's called GPA points. Now, based upon the level of classes you register for, they're all weighted a little differently. The regular classes in high school are weighted on a 4.0 scale. Like 100 in a regular class is equivalent to 4 points. Pre-AP classes and honors classes are weighted on a 5.0 scale. AP and dual credit is weighted on a 6.0 scale. So the more challenging of a class that you enroll in, the more points you're going to get for the grade that you earn in that class. So at the end of high school, all those points are added together. Actually, you'll know your GPA at the end of 9th grade too, but they'll add all those points together, divide by the amount of classes you've taken in high school, and that number comes out to be your GPA. And that's important when it comes time to apply for college, scholarship applications. It also determines what your rank is. Remember learning about rank? So the student with the highest GPA that does the best with their grades in 9th grade will be ranked number 1, all the way down to the last person in your class. So it's important that when you start high school, from the very first assignment that teacher gives, you're giving it your all. You're doing your best, because it starts this from day 1. Star testing in high school, you're responsible for 5 total. As 8th graders, you guys are testing in every subject, right? In 9th grade, most of you will only take 2, Algebra 1 and English 1. If you're in IPC this year as an 8th grader, you'll take biology with us next year. In 10th grade, you'll take your English 2 STAR test. And then in 11th grade, your last one, you'll take a STAR test in U.S. history. You are responsible for passing the 5 of these to graduate. It's another graduation requirement. If you don't get the score that you need, you'll be invited to retest. There's 3 retests a year. We'll keep inviting you back until you pass those tests. So 5 to pass before you graduate high school. Any questions on that? So we're about to switch gears. Go ahead, you can put the yellow form aside and grab the long white sheet. If you haven't put your name on it, go ahead and do so now. Ms. Campo's going to start talking about endorsements and how to fill out this sheet.
Okay. All right, so like she said, this portion is about which endorsement that you're going to get to graduate. And remember, everybody has to choose an endorsement and graduate with an endorsement in the state of Texas. So any of you already have an idea of what endorsement you're interested in? Okay, and that's all right, because that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to guide you through the different endorsements, and then I'm going to help you fill this out, because what you're going to have to do is circle 2 different endorsement pathways that you're interested in. Okay, and right now that may sound like, what is that? But I will guide you through it and help you choose one, and you're choosing it based on what you think you might want to do as far as a career or something you're interested in. Okay, so just to give you an idea, refresher, the endorsements that we have are arts and humanities, business and industry, public service, STEM, and multidisciplinary. And don't forget, like at the top, it tells you about the elective fair, which you already have your flyer. So this is a form that you're going to want to take to the elective fair, and this will help guide you through, because it's going to be divided by endorsement. So if you like circle one of these and you're like, I know I want to do business and industry and maybe go into construction, I can use this and I can go and find that endorsement area and find that table where the teacher who teaches principles of construction will be there, and I can talk to that teacher, okay? So that's why this is going to be important for you to fill out and take to the elective fair. So just at the top, it tells you about that, and then a reminder of how many credits it takes to graduate. And then at the bottom, it's telling you that you need to choose up to 2 different pathways, okay? And so, like I said, I will help guide you on that. So we'll talk about the first one. So go ahead and open to that first page where it says Arts and Humanities Endorsement. So this kind of guides you on what that is. If you are a student who you want to do band, orchestra, choir, your theater arts, dance, or the art classes, or 4 years of a foreign language, you will earn an endorsement in arts and humanities, okay? So have any of you, raise your hand if you think you might want to do that all 4 years. Band, orchestra, choir, theater, okay. All right, well, if you are interested in any of those programs, we definitely encourage you to continue on with that, because once you get to the high school, there's 1,000 plus of you students, okay? So it's really good to be plugged in, kind of have that school family and have that support system, okay? So, but if you are a student who's going to do that all 4 years, you automatically are going to get an arts and humanities endorsement, okay? So on this, you would circle the whole rectangle. Like the first one, if you look at that, it just says levels of the fine arts program. So that would be like band 1, band 2, band 3, band 4, and so forth. And then it talks about the different fine arts and then the languages. So if you're interested in that, you would circle the whole box of whichever one you're interested in. Okay, the next one is business and industry. This is our largest endorsement, a wide range of classes that we have in this endorsement area. these are just some examples. One, the culinary arts program. We have a great chef that works for us and guides those students. Awesome ag program as well. So if you're interested in plants or animals, raising animals, that would be your endorsement area. And this would be, we talked about there's principals classes, okay, in all the endorsement areas. And let me introduce you to that right now, because that's the top one. So look at the business and industry endorsement. It's going to be right there on the right. That first box is going to say Principles of Agriculture, Food, and Natural Resources. And you see there's several boxes that start with that. So if you are a student who is interested in the agriculture program, that would be a principles class that you would take. And principles, all that means is like an introduction to that endorsement area. So if you're interested in that, that would be the course you take in 9th grade. Because do you see on the boxes how it says 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th? That is just to guide you on classes that you might want to take to get an endorsement in that pathway. You don't have to, but it's just encouraged, and like I said, it just kind of guides you. And there's several different options. But then you see at the very bottom, look, it says Architecture and Construction Pathway. So that would be this. If you're interested in welding or anything in the construction, we would encourage you to start with a class we call Principles of Construction, okay? So that's at the very bottom. Now turn that over and you're gonna see all the different areas of the business and industry endorsement and all the different pathways. So right now it kind of looks overwhelming, but like I said, use that to just guide you on other electives you might want to take. For example, photography or broadcast journalism. If you want to work on the yearbook or in the newspaper, those would be classes that you could take. And then on here, it's going to guide you Principles of Art, AV, and Communication, which is in one of those boxes. That would be a principles class to guide you there. And then, of course, they have auto tech and anything in the business industry. And it could be from finance to advertising to owning your own business. All of those are also going to be on that back side. Too much to go over, but just know, circle how many? 2. Okay, 2 pathways. Okay, the next one we're going to go over, so flip to page 3, and at the bottom you see public service. This will help you kind of think any career that you're wanting to help others. That would be an endorsement in public service. So anything like police officers, firefighters, anyone in the medical field, okay? That would be public service. Military, any of you interested in the ROTC program? Okay, if you take 4 years of ROTC, then you're automatically public service. And then if you're interested in education, working with children, that would also fall under that endorsement area. So to guide you on this sheet, at the bottom of page 3, on the bottom left, it talks about Principles of Human Services. That's a great class to take for any of those careers. So if you know right now, well, I just know I want to do something to help people, I would recommend you sign up for Principles of Human Services. And then at the very bottom, you see Principles of Health Science in that last rectangle. Any career in the health field, you would want to take Principles of Health Science. That will give you a wide range of different careers in that area. And you do small things such as you do the pulse, you could take vital signs, you learn CPR. So if you're interested in any of those, Principles of Health Science. Okay, go to the very back. This is our STEM endorsement. Raise your hand if you are already in Algebra 1 or IPC. Okay, so all of you, since you started your math and science in 8th grade, you already have a high school credit for math and science. To get an endorsement in STEM with science or math, you have to have 5 math or 5 science classes. So you're taking one now, and remember Ms. Kroll said you have to have a math and science all 4 years. So that would automatically put you at 5, okay? So some of you that are advanced, you may already have your STEM endorsement, and then say some of you are gonna be in band or choir all 4 years, then there's 2 endorsements that you're already gonna receive, okay? So there's multiple ways to get an endorsement. And then the other 2 is technology, or if you're interested in engineering, that would be under STEM. And then the last one is multidisciplinary, and that's for some of us who aren't quite sure. You're like, I don't know, I'm just in 8th grade. Well, that's okay. You could go under multidisciplinary because that gives you a wide range of classes to take. So you could take a couple in each endorsement area, okay? Or how many of you are in AVID? Okay, a couple of you are in AVID. If you do AVID all 4 years, you're automatically multidisciplinary, okay? Or if you're gonna be in athletics all 4 years, you would earn multidisciplinary. And then we just have all these others, like I said, we can combine from different endorsement areas. And that would give you the multidisciplinary endorsement, okay? Any questions? Does that kind of help clear it up a little bit? Okay. All right, and so just to kind of summarize everything that we've talked about so far, we give you a visual of a cupcake. And this cupcake is to help you remember, what do I need to graduate from high school? So we have the cake part that we say all of those are your credits that you have to graduate, that Ms. Kroll just talked to you about, okay? So you have to have all those. And the icing on the cake of that is picking that endorsement. And how many classes do you have to have in your endorsement area? 4 classes in that endorsement area. Then the last thing, the stars represent the STAR test. How many STAR tests will you have to take in high school? 5. Okay. So how many credits? 26. 26 credits, at least 1 endorsement, 5 STAR tests. Okay. So hopefully just remember that when you're wondering, what do I need to graduate from high school? And now Ms. McCoy is going to come and help you fill out your yellow card and get you signed up for your classes for 9th grade.
Okay. Make sure you're on the right side of the course selection sheet. You have your name, last name, first name, and ID at the top. I think most of you had already put that on there. Please don't work ahead of us. We're going to walk you through choosing your courses step by step. If you have questions throughout the presentation, you can raise your hand and the counselors will be more than happy to come around and answer your questions. Once we finish, or I finish this part, we are going to answer all the questions you have at the end of the presentation as well. So please, while we're here, please don't hesitate to ask questions. We want to help you. So everybody put their name at the top and then circle your home campus. Obviously it's Bonnet Junior High, so make sure you circle your junior high. And then that very first box there is your endorsement choice. If you know it, go ahead and mark it. If you need to go to the elective fair, if you need to gather more information, that's okay, but you need to mark it before you turn it in. Ms. Campo mentioned the students that automatically are on STEM. If you're in IPC or algebra this year and you're doing fine, y'all are by default, like she said, going to end up with 5 years of science or 5 years of math. So you can go ahead and mark STEM because you should end up with that endorsement. If you're an AVID all 4 years, you can check multidisciplinary. And like I said, if you don't know, you can just leave it blank for right now, but in hopes that you make decisions based on the elective fair Thursday night. We really want you guys to show up to that so you can talk to each of the teachers in the career fields that you're interested in. Okay, so you may or may not have your endorsement marked. So let's get started on our class choices. You're going to have 7 classes. Choose 7 classes today. We're on a 7-period day at North, so you're going to have 7 total classes. So let's get started. Choice 1 is going to be English. It's pretty simple, folks. You can either take English 1 or pre-AP English 1. So go ahead and make your selection now. Remember, Ms. Kroll talked about the GPA class rank. The more pre-AP AP classes you have, if you do well, you're going to be ranked higher in your class. So consider that. If you're not sure if you want to take a pre-AP class, please talk to that teacher in that subject this particular year. Talk to your 8th grade teacher. They know you. Who better to help you decide whether you want to go pre-AP or not than your current teacher, because they'll know how the program works. Talk to your folks, but we want you to go ahead and make a decision right now. That's why we're using pencil. You can change this, so this is not completely set in stone, but go ahead and make a choice right now. If you talk to your current teacher and you need to change it, you're welcome to do that. So everybody should have an English class chosen. Please remember that the pre-AP classes do require extra work outside of the school day, independent projects, and for pre-AP English 1, there is some summer reading tied to that. So you have to do some assignments before the class even starts. So just be aware of what you're getting into. Talk to your current teacher. So everybody should have one class so far of our 7. The second choice is going to be math. Ms. Krull mentioned the specific situations earlier, but we're going to go over that one more time. So depending on your unique situation will depend on which math you choose. So if you're in 8th grade math, regular 8th grade math, and you're on track, 9th grade math will be Algebra 1. So you go ahead and make your selection now. If you're in Algebra 1 this year, you're doing fine for high school credit, next year will be pre-AP Geometry. There is no regular level geometry. It's automatically pre-AP because you guys are already advanced doing your math so early. If you're on the super fast track and you did Algebra and Geometry for high school credit, you will sign up for Algebra 2 pre-AP. So just based on your individual situation, go ahead and make your math choice at this point. And again, on these pre-AP classes in different subjects, talk to your current teacher if you're confused or not knowing which one you want to sign up for. Okay, so we have 2 of our 7 classes chosen. The third choice is going to be science. It's IPC or pre-AP biology. If you're currently in IPC and you're doing fine, your choice next year is going to be biology pre-AP. If you're in regular 8th grade science, you're on track. 9th grade science is IPC. So you can go ahead and mark that now. So everybody should have a science class chosen. So we have 3 classes chosen so far out of our 7. The next class is social studies or history. You have 3 choices here. Most 9th graders in the state of Texas take world geography. World history is generally a 10th grade class, but it doesn't matter. You have a choice. So world geography is typically about more locations and places and different cultures, where world history is about more historical events, famous people, dates, that kind of thing. And then you have your AP Human Geography, if you're really motivated. Because that's not pre-AP, folks, that's AP. That's a college level class as a freshman. So you know there's going to be independent projects, work outside the school day. Talk to your current history teacher if you're not sure. Get their opinion, talk to your folks. But go ahead and make a selection now, just knowing that if you need to change that, you can. That's, again, why we're using pencil. So far, you have 4 of your 7 classes chosen. Everybody has 4 because everybody has to have an English, history, math, and science. So let's say, hypothetically, English was first period, math was second period, science third period, history fourth period. Now what we have left is 5th, 6th, and 7th period. So you have 3 choices left, okay? The bottom part of your course selection sheet, we're gonna go over because there's gonna be more than 3 choices down there. But you only get 3 choices because you can't fit all these required classes in 9th grade. They're to be spread out over your 4 years in high school. Okay, so you're gonna make some decisions about which classes you wanna take in 9th grade versus which ones you wanna put off. At the very bottom of your yellow course selection sheet, you see that we have you list 2 alternate classes. We're suggesting that what you choose to put off for 10th grade, that maybe you list as an alternate, because sometimes when you sign up for classes, they fill up and we've got to move you to a different class. So we need you to list some alternates down there too. So with all of that in mind, let's start in the middle section of the course selection sheet because we've already done our English, history, math, and science. The main thing I want you to know about this little blurb here, that paragraph thing, is that down here, if there's an asterisk by one of the courses, it's only offered at South Campus, which means you will always be late to, say, for example, your second period class. If you took French at South first period, there's travel time, and kiddos are generally about 10 minutes late to that class. If you're not really good at catching up or getting motivated to get your notes from your neighbor, you will miss the beginning of that class every day. So if that's If that's not something you feel like you could keep up with, what we might recommend is that if you're interested in French or German, because they're only offered at South, maybe you take those when you get to South as a 10th grader. Because you notice you need 2 years of a foreign language to graduate. They need to be the same language. So if you didn't want to travel, then you would put that off and say take French 1 in 10th grade and then French 2 in 11th grade. And that meets your requirement. Spanish, on the other hand, is offered at North. So again, that's something that you could start as a freshman. Okay, so those are possibilities. Again, you only have room for 3 more classes. Let's look at the bottom right-hand corner of that yellow course selection sheet. This is PE. PE, you need 1 year to graduate. Okay? With the PE, we've got kind of a different situation here. Dance, ROTC, and team sports will meet the 1 year of a PE requirement. Team sports is just a plain PE class. Okay, so you can sign up for one of those. That would be a choice. With athletics, how many in here are in athletics? By show of hands. Okay, hear me out because this gets kind of confusing. If you're in football, if you play football, I want you to go ahead and check athletics and put football in there because you guys are the only ones out of all the sports that are actually going to be placed in your sport, into football. Every other sport, male and female, we are going to put you into a PE class while we wait on the rosters from your coaches over here. Male and female coaches will send us a roster for every sport. As long as your name is on that roster, we'll drop you out of PE and we'll put you into that athletic class. And now let's say it's a sport you need to try out for at North, and maybe tryouts aren't till October. We keep you in that PE class as a placeholder. You try out for the sport and you make it. We simply drop you out of PE and move you into that athletic period. So PE just serves as a placeholder. But again, the athletic thing has nothing to do with the counselors. We're simply going from the roll sheets from the coaches over here. So if you're in doubt or have questions, please talk to the coaches over here and find out what the process is. If you need to try out, find out when tryouts are. But please make sure you take care of that, okay? And then we also need 1 year of a fine arts course to graduate. Now, those of you that are in band, choir, or technical theater, dance, if you're in those kinds of classes now and you really enjoy them, we highly recommend you stick with those classes and with those programs. We want you to stick. Universities want you to do something in high school over 4 full years. And if you're involved in one of the fine arts programs, we encourage you to stick with that and take that all 4 years of high school. If you're not involved in band or choir or one of the fine arts this year, talk to the fine arts folks here, find out when tryouts are, try out, and then consider doing it all 4 years of high school. Universities want you involved in something all 4 years. Those of you that are athletes, they want you to be an athlete all 4 years. They just want you to be involved in something. So please remember that. But technically, you need 1 year of a fine arts course to graduate unless you plan on taking it all 4 years. The other section we have is career and tech education. Ms. Campo talked about that earlier. Those are the principals classes. And based on the endorsement that you choose, the pathway, will depend on which principals class you need. Now let's say, for example, you're on STEM, where you have 5 years of science and 5 years of math. You may not need a principals class, okay? But if you choose a 4-year career pathway, and the 9th grade class is a principals class, you really need to go ahead and sign up for it so you can start on your 4-year pathway track. But again, we highly encourage you to come to the elective fair on Thursday so that you can talk to those specific teachers. They can answer your questions, help you figure out which endorsement area you want to choose. Okay? And then this last area, other electives, if there's 2 stars by a class, that basically means it's only offered at North Campus. So to have the opportunity, if you want to take one of those classes, you really need to sign up for it in 9th grade. Okay? So out of all those areas down there, you can choose 3. We need hypothetically a 5th, 6th, and 7th period. And remember, let's say you choose to take a fine arts class, a foreign language, and a principals class, and those are your 3 choices. You're putting your PE off. I might suggest that at the bottom in the alternate courses that you list PE as an alternate. Okay, because it's one of the ones you didn't choose. We need you to list alternates at the bottom. Okay, so your goal, 3 classes down there at the bottom. So at this point, you guys have been great. We want to come around and answer questions. If you'll raise your hand, the counselors will be more than happy to come around and answer any questions you have. And please ask. That's why we're over here, and we really, really want to help you guys with this. Okay? Thank you.